Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom into Wine. It's time for the show and your host.
Good evening, everybody. It's Ian Blackburn. It's time to zoom into wine. It is 7 o'clock. Every Wednesday, we get together with some great people from all over this great land of ours and taste some amazing stuff. And tonight, it's a really fun selection of wines from across Italy. So let's get into it. I've got a nice presentation all prepared for us. Hope everybody's got their wines in good order. Let's go. Our Italian selection is getting better all the time as I work with a whole bunch of different really cool little importers. Also, now about 5 years into this, we're seeing what wines people like, what people want to taste more of, some different things. So I'm exploring some different corners and finding some different producers, really moving it around, trying to avoid kind of the predictable, the same 20 wines you see at all the same places. It's really not what I'm here to do. And I like to really find some gems. And I think we've done a great job. I hope you guys agree by the end of tonight that these are some of the best Italian wines out there. Let's get right into our first one, something really fun and different. I love Ribolla Gialla. As a grape variety, it is something really interesting to explore. It's a little less common than, say, like Pinot Grigio or some other grape varieties in Italy. Ribolla is very indigenous to the northern part of Italy. This particular producer, Clivi, is famous for having some really old vines. Let's get in and taste this wine together. We're up in northern Italy, right on the Slovenian border, near Austria. And the Dolomites, the mountains, the history up here, very different than other parts of Italy. And there's a lot of different influences over here. Here is a look at one of the vineyards. You can just look at, kind of how it's organized. We're talking about a little smaller estate, something with some interesting character to it. The vines are 70 years old, and just kind of, very classic little spot up in the Italian. I think that's kind of towards the end of the Dolomites as they kind of come to an end over on this side of Italy, but they're still very influential into the shape and the stone nature that is northern Italy. Also the weather, very cool, very big diurnal range. So Ribolla, very indigenous, like I said, originates from vineyards of Friuli-Colli Orientale, where it's cultivated to produce wines that are delicate, fresh, lively, and refined. Ribolla Gialla is English. In English, translates to boils yellow. How about that? Boils yellow. That's the English translation of Ribolla Gialla. Don't know why that's important, but okay. Characteristically floral, high in acidity, lots of mineral, often with these aromatic herbal tones and lovely stone and citrus fruit flavors. Okay, let's get it in the glass and decide for ourselves. I'm ready for my first wine of the afternoon. Got a little micro pour here because we sold this Zoom out, and I thank you guys for joining us tonight. Nose of lemon zest. I hope you guys agree there. Really beautiful aromatics here. Makes my mouth water. There's going to be some acidity here. Texturally, I also love this grape variety because there is some the rock and acidity. It's like you're licking some rocks a little bit, but you've got some juiciness, some mouth texture, and oh my God, food pairability options here are insane. The different fish to obviously any kind of game or poultry. Um, Lots of different options. Just go in any direction you're going to put a white wine. It's more than just a neutral white wine. It's got a little bit more character, a little bit of creaminess. I could see a lot of people liking this for different reasons. A little salty, a little mineral, a little rocky. Very cool packaging. Love the label. I think it's so cool. And $30. That is a lot of wine for 30 bucks. That is competing with like high-end New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. And this is just so much better than that. I hope you guys enjoyed the Clivi Ribolla Gialla. I do believe they make a couple different versions of this wine, but this is our first time testing out this one, and I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts a little later here. We'll keep rolling right along and get in front of a little bit of information. We're going to move down to the southern part of Italy, to Campania, for one of my favorite. I mean, I got a lot of favorites, but this is one of my favorite finds recently was this wine from Campania. And it's just hard for me to imagine I would ever say that a Fiano di Avellino was going to be one of my favorite wines. It's pretty common grape variety from Campania, but this producer does it so well. Tenuta Saro, 1860. Really small producer, brought in by a great importer. Campania, near Naples, the mountain, the volcano. That's what we're talking about here. It's a wine of the volcano. There are the vineyards. This is coming from 4.5 hectares. That's like 12 acres. Very rugged hillside, volcanic soils. Look at that row orientation. Really cool. Looking up the hill. Equally as cool. This says, got somebody coming in here. Citrus, floral, mineral, spicy iodine. You're going to look for that. See if you agree. Balsamic, undergrowth tones. Enhance its great freshness and unparalleled length. That's saying something right there. Opulent yet vertical on the palate. Really ready but destined for a long aging. Okay, so let's get into the glass now. Let's make up our own mind. That's what they're saying about it. Let's taste it as we review this 94-point review from Vigneti. Come on, that nose. If it didn't get you on the first wine, the second one I will. What a beautiful nose. It says flowery underbrush, and as a Zinfandel producer, I got some of that from our Rockpile wines. I think in the white wine world, that comes off a little differently here. A little bit more brighter, fresher. But some really interesting complexity. Crushed rock, obviously, from the volcanic terroir. Hints of hazelnut. That's a good one to look for. Freshly sliced pear. Herbal tones. Perfectly balanced by brisk acidity. I think the nose is just so gorgeous. I could just smell this and really fall in love with it. And it's so much more complicated than almost any other Fiano di Avellino that I've ever had. It's just really remarkable. And I think the fact that Vinous is spending so many words to describe it, stony and flinty, yet not severe, as notes of green melon and chamomile resonate. I think that's really a cool comment as well. Today, the 2020 Emme is built on elegance, having spent another year in bottle since I tasted it. It's truly stunning. Frankly, it's hard not to drink this instead of just tasting it. Well, here it goes. Thing about Italian wines, especially better Italian wines like we're getting today, they have so much to offer in the nose, and then the mouth is always just bionic with that acidity, cleansing, purifying things. The length here, the persistence, really, really beautiful. And I hope you guys are as taken by it as I am. 94 points. That may be a little conservative. I think it's hard to give Fiano a really high score, but this one deserves maybe even a little bit more love. Great, beautiful hillsides, very dramatic. This wine country here, this has been, producing wines since the time wine started to grow in popularity. I mean, they had wines and vines here for thousands of years. This is a whopping $35. It's crazy how much wine you can get for the money out of Italy. DOCG, so highest designation by the Italian government, and at $35, I think it's a no-brainer. That would be compared to somebody's Santa Rita Hills Chardonnay or Pinot Noir. They're making there's like less than 10 cases of this wine made it to California. This is a micro importer that only sells wines to the very top restaurants, and I have a good relationship with her. She actually started working for Learn About Wine a long time ago. I was her first employer and in wine, and she's way smarter than I am. She speaks like 7 languages. She's got this whole import thing going on now. Really, really cool what she's doing. Very proud of her, and I hope you guys enjoy that beautiful wine. We're staying in the white wine arena, believe it or not. This next wine is considered Pinot Grigio, but it is the exception. It is the high standard, and it is all Pinot Grigios wish they were this good. Okay, this is Foradori. This is a wine that, let's say you're going to a world-class Michelin 3-star restaurant and you want to order something off the wine list that's really going to be amazing. That restaurant will probably have Foradori. It's kind of remarkable, and maybe because where we are in the arc of this current economy, I've been postulating on this for a little while with my friends in business, that because so many great restaurants are there's a lot closing, there's so few buying voluminous wine lists anymore, I'm getting a chance to buy stuff that no one ever got a chance to buy. These wines would come to America on pre-offer. You'd be promised, you're going to get 12 bottles for a restaurant. And I've been able to amass almost 5 cases of this wine in the store. First time for everything, probably won't be forever, but let's go in and taste this beauty. First, Foradori is just a really top name brand. I'm going to actually introduce you to my friend who sells it to me here, and we're going to talk about it for a minute.
Zoom into Wine, we get together with some great folks and we try to bring in some experts to help us along the way. We've got the importer, Farm Imports, and our representative is Kendall York. She's incredibly helpful to me, introducing me to some beautiful wines. And Kendall, thanks for joining us. This Foradori wine that we're about to try is brought in by Louis Dresner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our importer for a lot of our French and Italian stuff.
And is there a person named Louis Dresner?
It's actually it was a husband and wife, Denise Louis, and someone Dresner. And now it's co-owned by Kevin McKenna as well.
Okay. And this particular, if you turn the bottle over and you see that it's brought in by Louis Dresner, which is kind of, part of the wine thing now, is when you see who the importer is, you can sometimes start to pick up some info. And the Dresner portfolio is full of gems that are basically very high ethos, low use of sulfur, organic, natural, biodynamic type of practices. Nothing in the book doesn't, there's no exceptions. It's all very small producer, super high ethos, and borderline natural practices, in today's undefined natural wine world. So the wine that we're about to taste is like one of the all-time greats on the planet. And so Kendall brings that in for us, and I'm going to get into the slideshow, Kendall, and you could tell us a little bit more about it. Here it is. It's the vintage 2024 Foradori. Am I pronouncing this correct?
Fuoripista. That kind of just signifies that it's kind of off the beaten path. It's these vines for the Pinot Grigio are coming from actually a different producer or a grower that she works closely with, but still kind of in the general domain and area where most of her vines are. Foradori, this is one of the estates and producers that, since I've started with the company, people ask me most about and are kind of the hardest to get. So Elizabeth took over her family's estate, or her dad's estate, up in the Dolomites. So, French Alps, really cold climate up there. And Elizabeth, there's obviously in all of wine, there's a lot of like commercial winemaking, and she was just feeling kind of stuck and uninspired and transitioned into more biodynamic agriculture, changed the pruning of the vines, and just became more kind of holistic. And now her kids are taking over, but she still is very involved. It's her estate. She can still work it a little bit, but her son in particular has taken over the winemaking, and her daughter's really taken over more of the aspect of introducing polyculture and biodynamics that really helps create this general landscape of farming where, there's natural elements that are helping the vines and the grapes be as high quality as possible without having to bring in any chemical usage.
We've got altitude, we've got Dolomites, we've got incredible rock formations. I mean, it doesn't stop there at the hill. It's in the ground, it's the soil, and these wines are super hard to get. Now, a lot of people are going to look at this wine and freak out, Kendall, because they maybe have never had a Pinot Grigio that's got some pigment to it. But Pinot Grigio, Pinot Bianco, Pinot Noir, they're all in the same family, and they do have some color to the skin. And so that's what you're looking at. This is kind of like an extreme wine. You might find Ramatos out there that have a little pink pink pigment. This one got more pink than I think you or I would have thought it would be for 2024. This thing, but we'll see in the winemaker notes, 8 months on skins. This is basically a red wine, Kendall.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that she also introduced that's kind of not really heard of in the area, which is using amphora. And amphora traditionally, is one of the most like ancient ways to produce and ferment wine. And what she does is she destems the grapes and just puts them in the amphora, lets them ferment, lets the juice seep out, but then the skin of the Pinot Grigio, Grigio meaning gray, more kind of pink toned, seeps into the juice, and you get this like kind of like fuchsia pink color.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, and the nose is hypnotic. You can see right away why people fall in love with it. There's a great picture of the grapes themselves. That is the gray Grigio or Pinot Grigio, and it is planted all over the world. But this is where it's probably most iconic, at least in the Italian sense of things. And this is not. There's Pinot Grigio and there's this wine. This is like this is something very, very special, and I'm so excited to be able to not only sell this wine, but to taste it with the group tonight, because I think a lot of people, this is going to be their first experience with this producer. I think I carry all of their wines, but I may be mistaken. I know I've got the red and the white. So if you like what you see here, I would encourage you to explore in the family, because this is a really important brand.
Yeah, and I feel like just off that point, if this is something that you like, her really bread and butter is Tenuta, is the red grape that she works with. And I mean, those wines are just gorgeous and incredibly finessed, and a little bit more like, they're very complex, but they're very quaffable too. Yeah, I mean, she's a master.
Fantastic. And it, from a price point standpoint, there's very few Pinot Grigios that fetch close to $75, and I can barely keep this in stock. I mean, I got more bottles than I've ever had right now, but it's just a moment, and it will go away because people buy this all over the country. And so really cool to be able to taste this with you. Thank you, Kendall, for letting us include this tonight. I'm going to taste it with the group now, and we'll get right back to you because we got another wine.
All right, so we've tasted a couple. Hope you guys are off to a good start. What do you think of this? You might look at it and think it's a rosé, but it's not. It's actually is, you just kind of blindly ignore the color. You can feel a little bit more palate weight than most Pinot Grigios, but it is like a perfect wine for this time of the year, for our type of California cuisine. So good with so many different things here, and it's a special wine. I'm not going to kid myself. Some people are going to drop dead when they see it's $75 for our Pinot Grigio, but this is really, I've said it so many times, just really special. So yeah, I mean, in a blind tasting, where would you put that? I don't know. It's just but there is a category known as Ramato, and so pink Pinot Grigio, very common, and even in the whites, bigger producers, you can still see like if you focus on it well enough, you'll see a little pink in just a plain old Pinot Grigio. But this one goes above and beyond, and that use of amphora, I think it probably does, Stephanie, get pretty close to orange, because of that amphora and that time on skins and the natural process. That's probably more in line with what people do to make orange, and in certain other parts of the world, they don't even want to call them orange. They're in Georgia, they want to call it amber, but it's just I think here everybody wants to categorize it. Is it a rosé? Is it an orange? What is it? It's just Italian Pinot Grigio from one of the top producers. And how did you like the others, guys? Did you like those first two that we tasted? Oh, Stephanie, you're having a little butternut squash ravioli. That is like perfect for any of these first three wines.
It went perfect with the first one.
Nice. Love that. Well, let's continue. Let's go. Don't think I've shared my screen, so I'm going to do that real quick. Hold on a sec. Boom, boom, boom. Some of the slides. Also, you can check out Foradori on the website. I'm not sure of how much of the other stuff we have. I know we have one other white and the red as well, like I said. So, and by the way, this is her most expensive wine because of the time it takes for her to make it in the amphora process. The other ones are almost half of what this one costs. Hey, by the way, next week we're doing this, 2 weeks in a row of some really insane wine. Next week is our Cabernet showcase called Top Performers. Always looking for new names, but wow, are we opening some great wines. And the flight kit represents that at $130. But what you get, if you were to buy the bottle kit, you'd be looking at $1,700 for the bottle kit. Scarecrow Emiton, which means Tin Man, from the family that produced the movie Wizard of Oz. Scarecrow, Tin Man, super cool. 23. We'll learn all about that. Talk about some big news that's happening at that winery too. Black Square was one of the top 100 wines of the world last year. We'll have winemaker Todd Alexander joining us on the Zoom next week. Greer, the smallest cab producer you never heard of from Napa Valley. Like, their neighbors are like Harlan and Staglin, and it's made by Aaron Pott, and it's flipping amazing. Vengay, Missouri Hopper, that's Beckstoffer Vineyard 21. Whoa. Aaron Potts Incubo. Oh, did I mention Aaron Potts going to join us next week on the Zoom too? Live, both of them. How cool is that? Aaron Pott now owns almost 300 acres of Mount Veeder Vineyard. It's a great story too. I'll let him tell it. And then one of the wines we're going to taste is from Sire. This is, for some people next week, this might be your favorite wine next week. Julien Foyard, making a Hui vineyard, which is owned by Realm. These are all super geeky, culty Napa caps, and I can't wait to get into it with you next week. We have a nice big group, so thank you all for joining us. We do have a couple more kits available, and I'm going to encourage you guys to jump on if you haven't already and would like to. The rest of the all the way through September, and I think we are pricing October as we speak, so you can see the lineup. Let's get into our next wine number 4. La Prevostura, Lessona, Piedmont. Did I mention I'm going to Piedmont? November of 27. White truffle season. Join me. Piedmont. Just had a great Piedmont class last Saturday, actually, in downtown LA. We had a blast. God, I love the wines. And this is really a special spot. The history, the fact that the Romans and the Burgundians both had a lot of influence on architecture. The cuisine is different. The feel is different. This is a 5-hectare site. Nebbiolo is the grape. They do grow Vespolina and some other indigenous varieties to this part of the world. But it's basically considered Alta Piemonte, or Northern Piedmont. Not Barolo, but north of Barolo. So Nebbiolo from even further up into the mountains. A little more challenging in some regards to grow grapes up there. Also, the wines aren't made with quite the muscle and power that you're going to find in Barolo, but this one is gorgeous and quite popular with the top Italian restaurateurs. Swirl that thing around. You can see the color isn't super dark, but don't let that fool you. And Nebbiolo kind of does that. Gets kind of bricky. The classic nose of Nebbiolo, rose petals and tar, or tar and roses, as they would say. This has a beautiful rendition of that. Smelling great. Haven't tasted it yet. Let's get it in there. Nebbiolo. Nebbi means fog. And so these hills are covered in fog. You get there in November with me, you'll see gold and green and purple and red, all the leaves and the most beautiful places. Just crazy great there. The cuisine, the smell in the air. They love to eat local classic dishes. And Nebbiolo and these wines, these will pulverize your tannin sensors. This one got 95 points from Vinuis. Classy, polished wine, macerated cherry, mint, rose petal, pomegranate, tangerine peel lift in the glass. The 2022 is wonderfully fresh and translucent, with relatively soft contours that make it an absolute joy to taste today. I especially admire the wine's vibrancy. I mean, you can totally pick up on that orange peel here. Look at that. Come on. That's not a painting. It's a photograph. That's what it looks like. Another great feature of Alta Piemonte. This is like one of the great wines of Alta Piemonte, but it's priced less than most Barolos, because a lot of people are going to look at this on a wine list and go, where's Lessona? What's Lessona? They don't know this area as well. So we are all getting a little baptism here into something very cool. And It's brought in by the same importer that brought in, the white that I love so much earlier. And just awesome 100% Nebbiolo. Seeing that this is the 2000, that review said 2022, so this is the 2020. I don't know if that was an error in the typing or the review doesn't say. Yeah, this one says 2020 on the review, so I think that was this says 2020 and then 2022. I don't know what to make of that, but I'm reviewing it right now and saying I love it. Older the better. It's got some plush, soft, kind of fluffy edges to it, man. It's like licking a couch cushion. It's got that texture to it, and then the tannins come in, and it's like a right cross to your head, and you want more as soon as you finish it. The smell, the texture, these wines are like nothing else in the world. And that nose is so pretty. Love it. This is just one of those two that you could take to any great restaurant and knock their socks off, because they won't have this wine either. Only a few cases made it to California. Super, super fun. All right. Woo. Moving on. One more for you. Two more, actually, but one more now. Let's go. Let's taste some ultimate Montepulciano. Nobile de Montepulciano, which is not to be confused with the grape called Montepulciano. This is the town Montepulciano, which is in Tuscany. And they make this wine from a species of Sangiovese called Pronto Gentile. Let's hope I don't repeat anything. Let's go right to the video.
Zoom into Wine, we get together with some great folks and we try to bring in some experts to help us along the way. She's incredibly helpful to me, introducing me to some beautiful wines. So we're back with Kendall, and Kendall, another wine from Louis Dresner. You brought this to me. First of all, when you're looking for Nobile de Montepulciano, there's maybe an expectation on price point that I saw the price of this one and I was like, wow, that must be freaking spectacular. And I was almost like counting it out before I even tasted it, to be honest. I was like, wow, that's expensive. Then I tasted it. And I was like, this thing, it blows the doors off the category. And when you guys see the price point, there's Nobile de Montepulciano, and then there's this wine, and then you look at the price, and for what you're getting here, this is a steal. This is really something special. Kendall, I don't mean to take your show away here, but there's the map. Have you been there?
No, never been.
I take groups to Florence. We go to Chianti. We've had into Montepulciano, the Montepulciano area. We've been to the coast. It's a wine mecca, right in this zone. Montepulciano is kind of like the farmy little neighborhood, and so I want to break from the slideshow and just show you a picture of her we found, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Let me throw that up.
And honestly, one of the reasons I feel like when we go to Europe to visit our winemakers, a lot of times we're more off the beaten path. And places like Tuscany and Montepulciano, there's only producers that we would work with are very few and far between, because we are more focused on really honest farming, really honest winemaking, really small producers. And, in places like Tuscany, those, it's more, there's more representation with the larger wineries. And I think that's also goes to show why this wine is priced the way that it is, but then also your reaction to it is very, I think, universal, because there's just not a lot of wines being made like this in this area. You're actually tasting you're tasting real fruit.
3.5 hectares. She farms it herself. She's in her 70s.
Yeah.
And this is like an old sharecropping spot. And it's called 1 and 2 because it were plots 1 and 2 in like a 6 or 8 plot estate going back probably a couple hundred years to the sharecropping era. And this woman does it herself, and that's what we're tasting in this glass here. Let's go deeper on the wine.
Yeah, she's not using any chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, anything in the vineyards, which also means, that's extra work for her. There's a lot of same with like Elisabetta Foradori, a lot of polyculture, so she's planting, growing other things that help support her vines without having to use chemicals. It's a lot of work.
So the variety is known as Pronoto Gentile. And there's also other grape varieties that can be blended into this variety, like Caniolo, Nero, and Mamolo. And that's one of the differences between Pinot Nobile di Montepulciano and, say, like a Brunello di Montalcino, which is 100% Sangiovese. But they call the Sangiovese Pronoto Gentile. Gentile? Is it
Gentile?
Yeah. And so I go to put this wine up to my nose, and I'm noticing there's plus concentration, which you'd expect when a 7-year-old woman is farming it by hand herself. So you got this incredible concentration, beautiful detail, lavishly structured. You smell it, you taste it. 2 years in oak barrels give it even more complexity, density, fleshiness.
And the oak barrels, they range in size in terms of hectoliters. So you're getting a very specific amount of not just oak, but also like this oxygenation that helps to create just this more kind of like complex and realized wine, which is like so necessary for something so concentrated and so rich.
Beautiful. This is truly a farm to table type of experience. You'll find it in some great restaurants around LA. There isn't a lot, though, outside of that. And as a wine shop, we're one of the few places that have it. So very, very happy about that. But I'm sure, as you spread it around and show it to people, more and more people will be falling in love with this wine like I am. We are in the $50 range, but I think the wine, just think about what you go to a winery in California and their entry-level Pinot is $50, and this wine is so much more than that, so much more interesting. It will last. This wine will last for decades. And I think it's one that you need to buy a bottle, tell the story of the 7-year-old proprietor, does all the work by hand. We can't take that for granted. Don't even know if she's got, the next generation coming on, or if they're, they're working for Google somewhere. They're not coming back to the 3.5 hectare ranch.
Yeah.
This is like.
Yeah. And this was one of the wines, we were talking earlier. I was like, I need to read up on this a little bit because I've never had to hand sell these wines. People just wait around until they're available, and I have the note in my little notebook, and they're here, and they just go before I even ever get to take them out, really. And we were lucky enough to try them however long it was, a few months ago. And we both went, oh yeah.
Awesome, Kendall. I love tasting with you, so come see me some more.
Yes. Well, we'll taste some champagne tomorrow, and then we'll do this again for Champagne Week.
You got it. All right. Take care, Kendall. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
I did not get to taste champagne with her today. Our driver quit, so I'm out making deliveries this week. So I was very disappointed that I wasn't able to taste some of her champagnes. She carries some really cool stuff. But I hope you guys love that as much as I do. Super, super fun find. And we got one more for you. That one's right about $50, and probably twice as much as my next Nobile de Montepulciano, but everything's got a price to it, and I'm gonna pay her to farm it for you. That's and I think her total production is about, they probably should import more wine just to California from the less expensive producer than she makes for the world. Our last final wine is from a legend that's been imported by Kermit Lynch for a long time. This is Giuseppe Quintarelli, and we're back up in the northern part of Italy again, Veneto, right next to Lombardy, right below Alto Adige. Really cool part of the world. You're gonna find a lot of wines like Amarone up here, Valpolicella, and in fact, you could argue that this producer makes the very best of everything they do. By the way, I usually have the olive oil. We're currently out, but we're getting more like Tuesday of next week. It's the best olive oil in the world, hands down. It's $80 a bottle, but it's incredible. His Amarone's $400 a bottle. Okay, and my allocation, by the way, 1 bottle. That's what I get. So really special stuff. The wine that we're tasting here is a little bit more affordable, a little bit more value oriented from this estate, but you're gonna love it. Just a maniacal, detailed person where quality, everything's hand done. Really some incredible insights. The classic grape varieties of Amarone, Corvina, Rondinaya, Molinara. That's what we got here. But this is made from first round of grapes harvesting from the vines used for the Cata Merlot. It's called Primofiore. So it's like probably the younger vines, and a way to kind of like use the fruit from the younger vines, because the old vines go into the Amarone. 50% of those are the classic older varieties, and then some Cab and Cab Franc go into this wine too. So kind of a super Veneto wine rather than a super Tuscan. Sweet opening with dusty rose tones, a beguiling whiff of tangerine, wild strawberries, stone dust. It is a round and energetic in style, perfumed with violet and lavender tones. Ripe blueberry or blackberry fruits swirl through. The finish is classically dry and long, yet remarkably fresh, leaving a subtle tannic crunch and a hint of wild blueberry to linger. I haven't even got it in my glass yet. Let me get it in there, see what I think. But there is the man himself with his children that will take over the empire. Very cool little wine. About $100 for this baby. I had 10. Maybe I still have 10. Let's see what we got left. We're down to 9. This is the 23. I'll be getting the 24 probably in another 3 or 4 months. But it is it's something great to find. A really cool restaurant I went to recently. If you haven't been there, I'm going to recommend it to you. It's called Verse. It's kind of up. I'm going to say Studio City, but that's not right. It's kind of a little further up, and it's owned by a gentleman who's like a famous sound guy for the movie industry. I believe it used to be a sound stage, but he built out this beautiful restaurant. It was supposed to open prior to the pandemic. Pandemic kind of shut it down. Chef left, and the sous chef stayed on board, and now the sous chef is killing it. And the place is going nuts. He spent lots of money on a beautiful sound system. There's live music, jazz, yet you could sit there and have a conversation because every single table has its own sound control. And not that you have to turn it or anything like that, it adjusts to you. And the music's very like part of the room, not taking over the room. It's a great experience. And his son, he was probably 28 now, is one of the up and coming somms in the world. He has this on the list. I drank a bottle of it. Like, I have this wine. I need to sell more of this wine. And this wine was the kind of the impetus of me pulling together this flight tonight. I love everything from this producer, and it's a name that you want to kind of be aware of, be on the lookout for. I mean, anything he makes is going to be on the premium side. You know, it can get very expensive, but you're talking about something awesome. And on a restaurant wine list, this wine, I think at first was like maybe 150. He doesn't mark it up that much, just a little bit over retail. So that's a pretty good deal. And they let you bring corkage too if you want. Super interesting, great with food. Dare you to have that with lamb chops, osobuco, whatever you want there. That'll be phenomenal. Super delicious. The acidity is long and strong and beautiful. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I got a lot of chats to catch up on here. Thomas, thanks for your comments always. I love the fact that you love that. Michelle, mint, peppermint. I saw that in the note about the Montepulciano. Cool. Lots of comments. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed our selection this evening. It's fun to do this with you, to taste things next to each other. Next week is that Napa Valley kind of no, I'm sorry, these are the wine trips. Where's my Zoom list? I think we already did that, but just in case I didn't, you could go to Zoom into Wine. You can see them all. After Cab, Baja, Austria, Germany, Lambrusco, Australia, Paso Robles, Sangiovese, and you're going to see all the way through October by next week. Here are the trips I've got coming up for 27, and we're going to travel hard. So be on the lookout for some announcements about them. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. My Dodgers had a really good week playing some great baseball against the Yankees and now the Phillies. We've got a trade deadline coming in about 10 days. It's one of the most interesting times of the year because every team could just get radically changed in the next 10 days, and you just don't. It's like a totally different season begins because now the teams are either weakened or strengthened, and every team will make adjustments because they need to, and that's what makes baseball fun. Thanks for listening to me tonight, guys. Got the hiccups now, so I'm going to say goodnight. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, David. Thank you, Teresa, Thomas.